Hey, this is Jacob Morrison from Alabama.
Jacob, what's on your mind?
Hi. So I have been listening to the show for a long time, and I've been really inspired by what y'all are doing and by the Bernie Sanders movement. He was the first vote that I ever cast, and so I've this year become increasingly involved in the labor movement. I've got a union at work. I've been really active there. I have helped to organize a branch of the IWW in my city. And another union brother and I are going to be on terrestrial radio here in April. And so I just wanted to know if there was any advice that you had for me. We're going to be talking, hopefully centering mostly around local and state issues. But we do, and we want to center it around like not necessarily super partisan. It's on a conservative talk radio. We want to kind of go out in, open their minds to a new perspective. So we don't want to be super partisan about it, but,
Right.
Talk about how they can help themselves through unions and organizing and solidarity. And so that's kind of what we're going to be working on. And I know that you've been in this business for a while, so I just wanted to see if you had any tips.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm happy for you, but I'm really happy that that's happening. Yes, my suggestion to you, because of the nature of terrestrial radio, you do not brand yourself as anything that would indicate your politics, and I think I don't have any specific tips to tell you, but I would listen to as much right-wing radio as you can. And I would look at what you're doing, because you are literally behind enemy lines, as it were. It's a little bit of a
Right.
little rhetorical. But I think to use their language, like, let me put it this way. I don't know if you're a religious person at all. I'm not particularly, but there are words that religious people use that aren't religious per se, but they indicate to other people, not maybe even on a conscious level, that they're talking to a religious person. And I'm trying
Like
to think
neighbor.
of neighbor, appreciate, they're like, sometimes like you appreciate, there's like, faith, not used like talking about faith, but used as like a verb, or in other contexts, but there's more there's more than that, and I don't, at the top of my head, I don't have it. It's more of like I recognize it when I hear it to some extent, and I think that like it is worth listening to some of the words, and I think it's perfectly fine to say, like, part of self-reliance is being able to rely on others. And, like just be a corrective. And, like too many times, and I'm not in any way, I have no idea what you're going to do, but too many times I think on the left, there's this sense of like, I'm going to have a show or a presentation that's going to be radically different from, other things. Well, I think from a political standpoint, and that may be interesting to watch, and without a doubt, and listen to. But from a political perspective, my sense has always been, make it a corrective. In other words, the format and all the trappings look like something they're used to, but the content is different. And so people are, people need to feel comfortable with, certain trappings. Not necessarily what you're saying, but like sort of like the way you do it. And, you make it like a radio show, and you're feeding, if you're presuming that your audience is going to be mostly conservative. And if you're on a conservative station, or you're going to have a significant number of conservatives,
Right.
That's who you're going to be
They
talking
play Rush Limbaugh. You were just talking about Rush Limbaugh earlier. Rush Limbaugh's on that station right now. So
There you go. I mean, and I would, the way I would talk about Rush Limbaugh on there would be never by name, and never even like in a pointed way. I would be more like, can you, and obviously your show is going to be different than this, but there's value in saying like, Can you imagine somebody coming out and downplaying this? What's going on here? It's almost impossible to imagine. Let those audience members of his who remember that he did that, just remind them of it. But you don't have to, I'm much more in the 2+2 camp than 2+2 = 4 camp. That's the way that I like to persuade people. I like to walk them up to the line and, because the ones who will add it up are you've convinced. Maybe, not as many will hear the words 4, and not as many will come to the awareness of 4. But if you say 2+2, the people who are going to go, oh, it's 4. Those are the people that you're going to have convinced. Does that make any sense?
Yes, yeah, I think so. And that's definitely, that's a lot of what we're trying, that really sounds a lot like what we're trying to do. The brother that I'm working on this with, he's the president of a local union here in town, and everybody knows his politics and his union. He wore an Antifa shirt in one of their collective bargaining negotiating committees, one of their pictures that went out in the international newsletter, right? And most of the people in his union are conservative, but he was elected president, and so he's not, it's not like he's shy about his politics, but kind of like how I feel like it's kind of like how Bernie Sanders won rural conservative voters in Vermont. They knew that his members know that he's going to be honest with them, and whatever his politics are, he's going to fight like hell for them, right? And so, we're hoping maybe bring some honesty, integrity, and a little bit of a different way of thinking, and bringing some folks along for the ride.
Well, that sounds great. Well, good luck. Good luck to you, and keep us updated.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Bye-bye. Good stuff.